Hola, hoy vamos a hablar de participios pasados. So, what are participios pasados? Well, participios pasados are past participles. Now, if you don't remember past participles from your English grammar lessons, that's okay. We're going to talk about them now. So, participios pasados, past participles, are verbs used in different ways, okay? So, in English, this would be, for example, I have eaten, okay? So eaten, in this case, is my past participle. In Spanish, this would be yo he comido. So in this case, comido is my past participle. So eaten and comido, in this case, they're not the main verb. They can be part of a verb or they can be used as adjectives. Okay, so this is a participio pasado. So, as I just mentioned, we can use participios pasados in two different ways. The first way that we use participios pasados is as part of a compound verb. Okay, so a compound verb, or el tiempo compuesto, which we're going to be talking about in our next video, usually starts with a form of haber, okay? So like yo he or tú has, some form of haber. In English, this would be the word have, okay? And then our past participle, okay? So yo he bailado el tango, yo he visitado España, yo he entrado el cuarto, tú has pensado bien, él ha comido el postre. Okay, so as part of a compound verb. The second way in which we use participios pasados, which is what we will be exploring more, is as an adjective. It is very important to note here that participios pasados can never be used alone as a verb. One of the most rookie mistakes that people use is they'll go into Google Translate and they'll be like, ooh, I need to say danced, for example. And they'll put in the word danced and they'll want to say like he danced the tango. And they'll put in the word danced and they'll get this word bailado, right? Because that also means danced. So they'll say Bob bailado el tango, which in English makes sense because we would say Bob danced the tango. But in Spanish, it doesn't make sense because bailado on its own cannot be used as a verb by itself. I could say Bob ha bailado el tango. Bob has danced the tango. Okay, I can say Bob ha bailado, has danced. Or I could say el tango fue bailado por Bob. The tango was danced by Bob. But I can't just say Bob bailado el tango. It just doesn't work. I need to remember this. So it can only be part of a compound verb, okay, using this verb right here, haber, which we're going to go into in our next video, or as an adjective. It cannot be a verb alone. All right? So let's figure out how to form participios pasados, okay? So participios pasados are pretty simple. We're going to take our verb, and if our verb is an AR verb, okay, like bailar or tomar, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the AR and I'm going to replace it with ado, okay? So, for example, bailar becomes bailado, okay? Or tomar becomes tomado, okay? Some common AR participios pasados are emotions. For example, enojar. Enojar, to make angry. I could say ella está enojada. Okay, so you'll notice because when these are adjectives, I have to think about what my rules for adjectives are. So this O could become an A, it could add an S onto the end because it follows my adjective rules. Okay? If I have an ER verb, such as correr, comer, if I have an ER verb, get my right colors here, that ending is going to change to ido. This is the same as well for IR verbs, okay? So, for example, comer would become comido. That is a C. Comido. Okay? You might be looking at it going, oh, wait, comida, comido. Now you can see where it comes from. Another example would be leer would become leído. Now, I did put this little tilde here to give my I a little bit of emphasis. When I have a vowel before my I put on a tilde. Okay? So, leído. Yo he leído muchos libros. Another common one is dormir. Dormir, to sleep. Dormido, which would mean asleep. El niño está dormido. The child is asleep. Okay? So, as always, we do have some irregulars, because what would life be without irregularities? Boring. That's what it would be. Boring. So, some of our irregulars, which you can also find on the practice worksheet, some of the most common ones would be abrir, which means to open. So if I want to say the door is open, I'm going to say la puerta está abierta. Okay? Because it's changing to an A because I'm talking about la puerta. If I say la ventana está abierta, el cine está abierto. Okay? So just remember that ending's going to change if it's an adjective. The opposite of abrir is cerrar, and cerrar is normal. So like I could say, está abierta o está cerrada. Okay? Abierta, cerrada. Another common irregular would be decir. Okay? Decir is going to change to dicho. Como no me has dicho la verdad. You haven't told me the truth. No me has dicho la verdad. Another one that changes like decir is hacer. This one you have all seen if you look closely at clothing. Hecho, like hecho en Mexico, made in Mexico. All right? Hecho. Another common irregular is escribir, which changes to escrito. Como yo he escrito un libro. Los libros fueron escritos por Isabel Allende. Escrito. Another common one is morir. Morir, which becomes muerto. Right? Morir, to die. Muerto, dead. Mi amigo ha muerto. My friend has died. Mi amigo ha muerto. O el abuelo está muerto. The grandfather is dead. I would never say, though, el abuelo muerto, like to say the grandfather died. I need to have it as part of a compound verb or just as an adjective. Another one is romper, to break. Romper, to break or to tear, becomes roto. Como el vaso está roto. And ver, to see, becomes visto. Yo no he visto tu perro. I have not seen your dog. No he visto tu perro. So, as I was saying, when we use participios pasados, they either have to be part of they either have to be an adjective or part of a compound verb. Okay, part of a compound verb, meaning I have another verb with it, or an adjective. Now, if it is an adjective, this is very important. If we're talking about them as adjectives, we have to remember that they need to follow the as rule. If you don't remember the as rule, I will re-explain it. Okay, so I call this the as rule because I have to think about it. I have to ask myself, is it masculine or feminine? Okay, so is what I'm talking about masculine or feminine? Okay, that's going to determine if I'm ending in an O or an A. Okay, and then I have to say, is it singular or is it plural? Okay, and that's going to let me know if I need to add the letter S. All right, so for example, if I have el niño enojado, okay, I'm going to ask myself, is it feminine or masculine? Well, it's niño, so it's going to say enojado. But if I change this to niña, then it's going to be la niña enojada. If I change it to plural, if I change it to las, then it would be las niñas enojadas. That's my as rule, right? So I've got as. I need to ask myself those things to correctly use it as an adjective. Las niñas enojadas no están aquí. See? Remember to see me if you have any questions.